The fall of Steven Crowder. For those of you who don't know who he is, I highly doubt you don't know who he is. Steven Crowder is a popular, if not one of the most popular, conservative internet personalities on YouTube, and in general, really. He is most famous for his Change My Mind series, where he goes to college campuses and he sits down with college students and he tries to get them to change his mind on a certain topic. He's semi-funny. He had a failed comedy career. I'm not saying that to be disparaging. I'm just saying that to be descriptive. Maybe he just wanted to step away from comedy and do his own thing. Who knows? Maybe he just wasn't talented. It doesn't matter. He had he had a short comedy career. Let's put it that way. He used to be like super Christian. He probably is still Christian, but I know that he recently got divorced from his wife, Hillary Crowder. He has two twin sons, and that was like a big fiasco a few years ago because there was a leaked video of him allegedly abusing her. There's always two sides to a story, and from what I see from his wife, she isn't exactly the most stable person. Crowder, it seemed like he was in a bad situation. He allegedly didn't want. I don't want to get too much into it. It's like personal stuff. But anyway, his downfall. Crowder his downfall really began after he challenged Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire when they were essentially trying to buy out his company, and he refused. But his downfall, signs of his downfall were like before. You could see it before then. Currently, his YouTube channel seems to be dying. His subscriber count has slowed down. His view count has really slowed down. He used to get millions of views on his videos. Now he gets an average probably around 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. Really, really slowed down. And his decline, like I said, started when he challenged Ben Shapiro, and he challenged The Blaze, which was like his parent company. He should have never got a parent company. But like I said, his downfall really began signs of it began before then, and I knew he was gonna have a downfall. He rode on a wave of YouTube content that was popular in the 2010s, basically like the whole anti-feminist, anti-SJW craze. And he was like a little more right-wing than moderate, you could tell. I don't think he's necessarily a bad person, but he's a little more right-wing than he lets on. And a lot of the people who he used to associate with, like Stefan Molyneux and stuff, people who are not necessarily bad people, but have views that could be seen as controversial, they got banned. He used to have those type of people on the show all the time. He seems more open-minded than a lot of the people he would actually interview. Like I said, I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy, but he rode a wave where those people were extremely popular, and he sort of like sat back and watched as it all got censored. And I guess he believed that because he told the line and he didn't make too many waves, that he would be excluded from this. But obviously this is not the case. The Daily Wire obviously had some kind of deal, allegedly, in my opinion, with major tech companies like Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and stuff, so that they could essentially become the face of conservative media. And Crowder was expected to basically be bought out by the Daily Wire and stuff, and basically be under their control. Crowder, he didn't like this, and of course he's paying the price for it. Now we're watching as he's not exactly my cup of tea, but obviously he had a large audience, so he appealed to a certain demographic. Unfortunately, it looks like his time has come to an end. Like I said, he got a divorce, he's getting soft censored in the similar way as Stefan Molyneux is getting soft censored. If I recall, Stefan Molyneux, his subscriber count, it was hovering just below 1 million subscribers, and he never hit 1 million. It's like it slowed down and it never moved, and his views was heavily censored. And it seems Crowder's going through the same thing. It used to be extremely popular on YouTube and on the internet. Now you barely really hear of him, and the Daily Wire is basically trying to monopolize the space. Even though Ben Shapiro is not popular, a lot of his popular hosts are leaving because of internal disputes in the company. They're allegedly having financial problems. So basically, the propped up, controlled opposition. Crowder is like semi-controlled opposition, but he's not he's self-censored. He's not censored by a giant company. He's self-censored. He was anyway. But unfortunately, this seems to be the end of his popularity. He says that he's now going to stream exclusively on Rumble instead of YouTube. He said YouTube is dead. I think he's probably half a decade or more too late. The time to do this is probably back in 2017 when the censorship first began. I am not a giant fan of right-wing content. I think it is repetitive. I think it is closed-minded. But it's always unfortunate when you see someone's livelihood being put into question like this. We'll see how well he does on Rumble, but I'm not holding my breath. I think it's going to be a massive uphill battle for him.